Alright, so now that we went through the 4 different types of spenders, let's look at the spreadsheet to start doing our budget. We're going to put our money where the mouth is and start tracking our expenses, planning our money out for the month, and all that kind of stuff. I've actually created a spreadsheet that you can use, because rather than pay for an app to do this, just use your own version. Pretty great, huh? You see, the whole point of this spreadsheet is to auto-calculate the expenses into a really easy way to view all your money at the present moment, the current month, and the total for the year. I don't personally think you need to pay for something like that. Sure, it'll do it for you, and if you like the app, great. It's just that I made my own version, so I'm sharing it to you for free. All you have to do is click the link that says Budget for Friends, and you can make a copy, or you can enter in docs.google.com/spreadsheets/D/1UOYNAG/JDLC-4KHSPN4DYUFU-DF3DAVPD_copy, and that is case sensitive. Just click the Budget for Friends. It's simpler that way. I call my budget JA budget because it is a joint account, so it represents all of the money that my wife and I make, the incoming and the outgoing of that specific account. I don't mix it with other accounts. If I do want to include some other kind of account, it's going to have to be an outgoing or an ingoing. So if let's say I'm sending money to some other account regularly because it's part of the thing, it would actually be an expense line. And if I have stuff coming in from somewhere else, that will be an income line, because I'm only representing one account, and that's what's going to keep it simple. Otherwise your number at the end is going to kind of it's going to be skewed. So Wealthsimple offers the joint accounts, and you can create sub-accounts within that account, like within your login, to allocate money, plan for upcoming expenses. If you don't know Wealthsimple, it's an online financial institution that has drastically grown in popularity over the years. They actually have some really great commercials right now. It's this bank just totally crumbling into ruin as somebody across the street at the coffee shop watches. I use this heavily as my choice of financial institution for all of the goals that we have. They offer a referral code to every member, so you can use my code to score bonus money if you choose to fund an account, as well as participate in giveaways that they're running. Check out more of their features, including tax filing, investments, interest rates, financial coverage, like insurance kind of coverage, and they have rewards on their website. It's just wealthsimple.com, and the invite code is available, because that's the only thing that I'm asking from you guys. I'm not charging you, I'm not giving you this at like a cost. I'm just doing these videos for fun, but if you do sign up, it gets me a little bit of money, you a little bit of money. Very fun. And that's what it's all about, man. Let me tell you, when things just come together. Let's jump into the budget and I'll run over all of that.
Okay. So when you're making your budget, use any checking or cash account, but just pick one account, and you're going to measure everything by this one account. All the activity that happens, all the ins and the outs. So what you're going to do is you're going to decide in the column on the left here what is going to happen, what you're going to have as your categories, your incomes, your expenses, your save ups, things that you're going to save for, and then your investments. And those are all the things that you're going to have. Personally, I have some listed here, but you can change it around. And then use the bottom tab feature down here to track your expenses in a specific line or category. So, for a specific month specifically. So if you go to January and then you were to add in an expense or an income here on the right, it will automatically sum it up. And then that gets translated into the budget in the orange column. So before we walk through all of this, we really have to understand that the reason that we're doing the budget, right, what its main function is, it is to inform you of where your money is going. If you don't do this, you're going to end up looking back at your bank account and wonder where your money went. You'll only be able to use your receipts to find that info. And this budget puts it all in front of you, one item at a time, category by category, and then expense by expense or income by income. So before we do any expense tracking, we're going to visualize all of our income and outgo. Each month has 2 columns. So on the left side, where it's the white numbers, you're going to see what you're expecting to spend. You're going to tell yourself how much you're going to make. So I'm going to make $4,500, right? And then you don't, like, if you've never done it before, don't estimate. Don't be like, oh, I think maybe I'll make it. Use the last month of your income to say, oh, that's how much I made last month. So let's just put that exact same number in here if you can reasonably anticipate that you're going to have a consistent income. And then that'll be your benchmark for this month, right? If you have fluctuating paycheck, try and do the math to get the lowest possible income that you think you're going to get, because if you end up over making more money, then you're not going to be disappointed. If you overestimate, you're going to accidentally not get as much money, and then you'll have to start reducing your budget to get a $0 at the bottom. So yeah, go for the lowest income you think you're going to get and use the budget for that. So your total income is displayed right here. Let's imagine I had a second job and I got an extra $50. It would now update to 4550 because it's totaling all of your incomes. Okay, so pretty simple there. Go ahead and do that. If you have 2 incomes from 2 different people, you just put them all in, name them as you need to. A side note, when I first did this, I had to delay my income until the next month so that I could get ahead of the ball, because I wasn't getting paid until the middle of January. And so I had to go, okay, that's going to count for February. And then the second paycheck is going to count for the other part of February. You get paid twice in a month. So it was like the last paycheck of January was going towards February. So I made, on January 31st, I got some money in, and I would put that in as like $2,250. And then, I made halfway through February another $2,250. So then that goes up to $4,500. And that will be represented in the orange side as well. So let's start back on January here. The next step is to decide how much money you're going to spend in each category, because we have our income. So let's imagine your rent is $1,600 every month. You can see that up here, I've kind of got these like consistent expenses here. They're subscriptions, they're things that are just kind of regular. They're already kind of decided for, right? Whereas down here we have some variable expenses. These ones they could change. Maybe the education is not a variable, but you go ahead and change this around as you need so that you can make it work for yourself. So that puts us at the point of, your rent, your utilities, your phone. This might fluctuate a bit, but yeah, all that kind of stuff. You're going to put that all in and say, great, I am spending $2,894.48. I do recommend putting a giving or tithing category, and I have that one right here. Usually it's 10% of your income. You can see my little note there. The formula lets you guarantee that you'll have the money to tithe, because if you think, well, I don't have any money to give, I don't have any money, it's a percentage base, so you do have the money. You just have to kind of reduce everything else by a little bit. And the big problem usually is like we have kind of too much of a rent payment. That's usually the big problem. And so that might be something that people look at. Maybe they're eating out too much. That's a very common one. Their entertainment budget's too big. Or maybe they have a car that they haven't paid off yet. And so those are all bigger factors. I would say look at those first and then decide if you really don't want to do this. But it's 10% of what you make. So $4,550 becomes $455. And then you're left with 90% left to work with. You can see the expenses I have here is less than $4,550. So that means if I was to take this income and minus it by the expenses, I would have money left over. being generous, giving makes your life inherently better, which is great. So don't forget to do that. Okay, look at the total expenses. If this is bigger than your total income, the leftover category will be negative, right? So just scroll back up here. So if the expenses are bigger than 4,500, you'll end up with negative, and you don't want that. So so again, we have 4,550. If you minus that by your total expenses and it's a negative number, it means you have an income problem. It might be that you have a spending problem, but it's very likely that you could just go make more money. Very possible to do that. Either getting a better job, more jobs, selling some stuff, lots of options. Right? Obviously, you can't sell stuff forever, but just as a one-time solution, right? So before you put in the rest of your expenses, like online purchases, more emergency bacon, I suggest using the next sections to put aside money in your save up accounts. So let's scroll down here to the blue section. We have some save up accounts right here. I won't hide that. So here we have a house down payment, a new vehicle, your auto insurance, because if you pay your auto insurance all at once, you get a little bit of a discount rather than paying it month to month. Maybe you're going to go on vacation and then Christmas or birthdays is coming. So you're going to put some money aside in there. And you can see the total that we have saved for that is 610. 510 plus 100. Ta-da. My suggested list of save outs, but feel free to change them, expand them out if you want to. And then we have an investment section in the green here. So the investments, your Wealthsimple retirement. The retirement is suggested 15% of your income. That's a formula that is very common. And then you can guarantee that you'll have that because it comes out of this big number up here, your income. So 15% of your income goes into your retirement account. And that is for your future. That's for you to be able to not have to work in the future. So if 15% puts you over the top on your budget, like if it's too much money, go back and redo some of the categories that you previously decided. You're like, whoa, wait a sec, that's a little too much. I'm in negative now. Then go back and readjust these guys. Maybe I need to forego some entertainment. I can just delete that. And then now I have $50 more in room. I'm going to undo that, put the $50 back. You can see right here at the bottom, this is going to be the total of your profit or loss. Did you make more money or less money? So once you put in the rest of your expenses, remember that you're making the decision to spend this money in a certain category, and you can choose to decide to spend no money in a certain category. So I can decide to spend no money in entertainment, or I can decide to put more money into my vacation or something like that, right? But the question is, do you really need $200 in emergency bacon? I don't think so. $20 will do, So this question can be answered by looking at that end value at the bottom there, the profit or loss. So let's just imagine I have education of $400. As soon as that goes into the negative, it's going to turn red. Great indicator there. You'll see that the total I have leaving my account is $4,586. Remember, leaving that one account doesn't mean it's going to be gone out of my net worth. It just means it's leaving my account. So the expenses they're the ones that leave your account. The amount you save, they leave the account, but they still stay within your control and possession. And then the invested, they leave your account, but they grow over time. And so you want this number to be really big. The total leaving the account there, and we got a negative number, so we got to fix something, right? So let's go back here, and we got to get rid of 36. So let's get rid of our supplies. We got 6.98. Let's get rid of $7 here. We're going to go 43. And now we have a blue positive number, 2 cents. Woohoo! Our net worth is going up by 2 cents. We got 2 cents left over. So the closer, not net worth, it's okay. So the closer you can get that number to 0, the better. So let's look at why budgeting is hard. Budgeting is a real back and forth. It's always, adjusting here, adjusting there, thinking you're going to do this, and then something doesn't come up properly that way, and you're like, I wish it was going to work, but it didn't work. And that's okay, right? It does take a little bit of time to kind of fit the puzzle together until you get into a rhythm. And it can be taxing your mind. Try to figure out what's important in life. The good news is that numbers simply do what they're told. So if you figure it out here in the budget, it's going to work. Excuse me. It's going to work in the long run. You're going to be able to say, yeah, I am making money. The hardest part of budgeting is your involvement. So everyone put your hands in the air, or just one hand if you want. I'm going to say 3 things, and when you feel like the phrase doesn't match your method, put your hands down. So you have to plan it. Is that something you naturally do? Yes. So keep your hands up. 49% of Canadians did plan their budget in 2019. All right, second thing, you have to do it. If you don't actually do it, put your hands down. If you don't follow the budget, put your hands down. Just so you know that less than 25% of people did this in 2025. And then you have to actually execute it. Now, 100% of you will do this in 2026. So put your hands up. Woo, woo, woo. When you do this for 3 months, you begin to have a clear understanding in your mind of what you need to figure out every month. It starts to really solidify. And then you can start to focus on other things. So you'll start to see your life has shifted in a new direction. Let's see, you're being let go, you're being changed in a new direction, we're not taking your policy, take your pick. So let's go back to that $200 in emergency bacon. Let's call expense number 4 right here. $200 in emergency bacon, right? Now we're negative $199. If you take that $200 and instead you put it into food and groceries, you are attributing value to food and groceries as if it's greater than eating high sodium vacuum sealed pork. Very important to know what's in your bacon. Your emergency bacon especially. That stuff you don't want going bad. So now your life has started to shift more to at-home stuff. You're going to start cooking and making stuff at home. It's going to be, you have more food for less money kind of thing because it is kind of cheaper to eat at home. It's a very intentional act, a way to live the way that you're deciding to live. Whichever way you go with your budget, it is already a step up from passively letting life happen to you. But it may not be a step up compared to bacon. Too bad. My first budget looked like a grade 10 love note to someone in my class, and I wouldn't be able to give you any information when reading through it. But now, after a decade of refinement, I'm giving you... Hang on, let's grab the binder, because we have that one. I'll be right back. Yeah, come back. No. Come back. All right. So this is my binder for finances. Is how I tried to learn finances, and I don't actually have my budget here, but it's a whole bunch of things about mutual funds, performances, TFSAs, savings accounts. What do I do a GIC? What if I buy a 15-year fixed rate for a mortgage? How much am I going to put into my retirement? All that kind of stuff, right? And it's just like, here it is. Here's the budget, and it looks terrible. So, it's actually not a budget. It's just something else. But what's my dream retirement? Personal property insurance. I don't know why I talked about that. Other people and how they do it. What's some ways that I can start giving? What do I need to take of now? And what do I need to take of later? Oh yeah, and then some business stuff. And then there's like this financial house picture on here, which I'm not sure if I really agree with it, but it kind of explains some stuff. So I just did a lot of research, and it kind of helped me understand stuff, right? My first budget looked like a grade 10 love note to someone in my class, and I wouldn't be able to give you any information about it. Or from it, like when I was reading it. But now, after a decade of refinement, I'm giving you a tool that has complexity with clarity. You can jumpstart your financial future with this. Instead of trying to remember all the purchases, when my wife asks me if we can buy something, I tell her to look in the budget to see if we have room for it. And it's like I've already kind of decided that we have room for it or not. And then we kind of sit down and we do a budget twice a month, because you got two incomes, and so you do the first one, and then you see kind of where you're headed. You get your basics covered, and then the second amount of money comes in. You're like, great, it's finally in. Now let's sit down and let's wrap that up and get some other extra stuff that we want to buy. This gives us both direction and clarity and confidence in our upcoming purchases, instead of unknowns and, oh, are we going to make it? And I don't know. And, well, now you bought that, and so I can't buy this kind of thing. As well, it's a bunch of mental bandwidth to focus on other things instead of sweating about whether I have enough money for gas or emergency bacon. Okay, so what we're gonna do a bonus. The script is over, so I'm gonna do some bonus budgeting here with you. Okay, so I've got it pretty much nailed out here. So 4,500 is the January thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to our January track here, and I'm gonna put in. We got 2,250 twice. And then I got, because that's, we got a birthday in January, right? So we got an extra $150 from people. All right. So now let's go back to our main monthly budget. You'll see, actually, before we do, you'll see here on the right, we have the auto summer, and the auto summer is summing. It's adding this entire section of lines together and putting it all into that one right there. All right. So that's the idea. And then in the monthly side, you'll see right here, the white has, sorry, we haven't updated the white yet. So the 4,500 happens, and then the gifts and bonuses, I have to update that as well. I was not expecting to get a gift or bonus, but now that I have it, I have some extra room to work with. Pretty cool. The income goes up by $150, and then you'll see also that the tithe went up by $15. And then also the investment went up it went up to $697.5. So up about $22.5, because that's 15% of 150. Duh, of course. Everyone knows that. So what we're going to do, a rent, right? 1,600, first day of the month. I'm going to go over to January. I'm going to go over to the left side. I'm going to put in here 1,600 in rent. As soon as I go back, let's just move this guy out of the way for a sec. There we go. Now we can just go back and forth. Whee! Oh, we can't. Oh, jeez. Okay. Yeah. So now 1,600 pops up right there in the orange. It automatically does it because it's formulated to do that. Utilities. We got $50. So I'm just going to basically put all of these numbers in as we go. Phone bill is 34.48. And then we have our insurance. Gotta have insurance. Helped us once when we had a flood. We got subscriptions. Subscriptions are kind of already accounted for. So there you go, right? These are all our normal expenses. And then at the end of the month, or after your last paycheck, when you're done bringing in your money, you put your tithe in, 465. Because then you know exactly how much you have. You've brought it all in. Now you're going to give from that. If you're giving out of money you don't have, not smart. Don't do it. So now our gas, all right? Our gas is going to be a little bit different here. The gas is a variable. I've budgeted 250 because I kind of know how far I drive. I know how big my tank of gas is. I know what the price of gas is, sort of. It changes all the time. But I know that I can reasonably expect I'm going to get this many liters out of the month. And yes, I am kind of like that, right? Again, remember, I'm the analyst. So this totally changes how I do my budget. Let's say I spend $43 on gas one day. I spend $48 another day. I do a little $10 fill up. And then another day I did $52 in gas. And then for my last week, I had a whopping $48.78 in gas that I spent. So now back over here, you can see we're at 201.78. I have 48-ish dollars left to be able to actually attribute somewhere else if I want to, because I'm pretending I'm at the end of the month, right? Food and groceries. Now, I don't know who can get away with $300 of groceries, but maybe you can. You spend $110. You go back to the store for $24 of vegetables, and then you spend another $87 at Co-op, because Co-op's expensive, and you got 221. Let's see. Oh, we got another one. We got to go back for another $100. Now we're at 321. So I've decided to spend some more money in my food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take money out of my gas by minusing it by, well, I don't need to minus. I'm just going to go 230. Actually, wait, I'm not going to do that yet. So we're still at 250, 300. Entertainment. You know, we didn't actually spend all of our entertainment because we were not very entertained this month. So 23. But in takeout meals, oh man, we spent $27. We spent $43 because we bought someone else a burrito once. And then we had to go to Starbucks, so that's $8.75 for a water. And that leaves us at 78.75. We got a real problem. Education. So I had to pay my tuition, and education was $415 because I didn't bother to check. So I actually have to change that to $415. House down payment. I'm going to put, well, before I do this, because I've done my expenses, right? So let's just take a look where we're at. So profit or loss was $75 for planning, and this profit and loss is based on this number minus this number. That's it. So right now we're in the clear still. We're still in the clear. But I got to adjust some things up here because I did some things wonky, right? This guy was more, the other guy was less, that kind of thing. So if I take this down to 230, I can now bring up this guy to 320. They're relatively close. Honestly, if you don't make the exact number, really not the end of the world, but let's go 321. And then this guy I got to bring up to 78.75. Oh, that's 8.75, 78.75. This one I got to bring it to 415. And that puts my total expenses at there, and I got $30 left over. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what? I'm going to put some extra money into my house down payment. Let's go 540. Boom. We got 27 cents left to spend. And then what you realize is that there's actually an extra week in the month. And so what you end up doing is you end up spending more gas because you didn't realize that there's an extra week in the month. So now you're at $40, right? And this guy right here, he doesn't quite match. Like, you're $11 off. So technically the white always needs to be as much as the orange. The white couldn't be more. It's just that the white always needs to be as much. So 241.78. The problem is now that leaves us at a negative. All right. Now, because that was the end of the month, we're going to pretend we had already, oh, look at that. It gives me a little sum at the bottom. That's so smart. Why have I not thought of that before? We're going to pretend we already spent these, right? We already transferred them over into our save ups. We already invested them, and you can't take money out of your investments. Otherwise, it'll hurt your investment. So inside the house down payment, we have $540. Auto insurance, we have $100. And that's $640. Great job. As we're doing this orange side, it's totaling up on this side as well. For example, you can see we actually have $20 more to spend still than we actually did. Remember, that's the actual that we did at the end of the month. And the budget here is what we decided at the beginning of the month. And then I did my retirement for 69.75 because that's what it told me to do. And I'm going to do that. And now this guy matches, your total invested matches, your total save matches, your total income matches. It's just your total expenses that doesn't match, right? So it says that we spent $20 less than we intended, and I need $11 here to fix this. At the same time, we also, oh yeah, this is the $20 right here that we did not spend. So entertainment, I did not spend 43, and I don't need to spend an extra 20, so I'm going to put that down. Everything else lines up right here. And now you can see we're at 8.49, 8.49. Very cool, right? So, based on January, last month, I'm going to take all of these numbers and I'm going to plunk them over into this side as I think is appropriate. So I know that rent's going to be the same. My utilities are probably going to fluctuate, but I'm going to budget 50 for them. Maybe they go up to 70, right? My phone bill is going to be the same because usually it is. Insurance the same. Subscriptions probably the same. Tithe, that's relevant based on of the income you make, so that will fluctuate based on how much money you make. And gas, so it sees that I spent 241 last month, so I'm gonna I'm gonna do 250 for the next month because it's about the same as long as my lifestyle stays the same. If I know I'm going to take a big trip coming up, then I might want to adjust that. Food and groceries, we undershot it, so let's overshoot it this time. $400. Entertainment, didn't really like the entertainment last month, so I'm not going to do it again. And this time, when I go out to eat, I'm really going to only go out to eat for myself, right? No more extra coffee shop trips. And then I'm going to put aside some money into my medical category for an appointment, like a massage. I want some supplies, $40. And this is all based on the fact that I have the same income as last time. If I don't have my income in yet, I'm going to do this whole process until this number hits 0. As soon as I hit 0, I got to stop, wait for more money to come in. And so there you go. You got $665. I've reached the end of my expenses. I've gone great. I think I got my whole world covered. I'm going to put aside $6 for parking in case I need to travel somewhere. And so I got $659. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put in the house down payment. I want to put in $500 again. And this time I'm going to put $159 into my FHSA. FHSA, because I recently discovered about the FHSA. Very fun tool. And now I'm as close as I can to getting here. Right? So what ends up happening then is throughout the month we go through and we allocate all our money, we spend it all, For example, I said I was going to spend $1,600 in rent. I was going to spend $50, but in this time it was actually $70 for utilities because February was really cold, right? And you go through and you do all that kind of stuff. What you'll notice here is my number is really negative on this side because I did not receive any money yet. So I'm going to have to receive my money first and then I'm going to be spending it. But you can use this white side as a planning tool. So if you're not sure about what kind of money you're going to get, you can say temporarily I'm going to get $2,200, and then you'll see this guy's really negative. So I'm going to just undo all of my stuff in my budget until I get back up to what we need food, so you can't undo that. I'm going to undo FHSA. I'm not going to undo the retirement. I'm always going to leave that. I'm going to get rid of the house down payment. I'm going to get rid of, I need my auto insurance, so now I'm going to have to reduce my food. I'm going to bring my gas down to $150. Not going to touch my tithe yet. So at this point, I just have way too much of a house payment, right? And not enough income. But I know it's only going to be one of my paychecks. So I'm going to leave it there for now. And then when I get my first income right there, and then I know I actually got $2,500, then I'm going to go back over to my monthly budget here, and I'm going to look at that and go, yeah, that can go up to 2,500. And so now I'm only missing $334. I know I still have a second paycheck coming in. So then that second, I'm going to wait, and then that second paycheck comes in for $2,500. And hey, look at that. We made more money this month than we did last month. $5,000. That's awesome. And so now I'm positive. So I got $1,540 left to allocate. So let's go ahead and allocate out, 500 here, 500 here, 500 here. And that'll leave us at $40. We do another $40 there. and we're done budgeting, right? Meanwhile, every time that we do an expense, I'm actually inputting my money into these certain categories, right? I spent $12.43 in takeout meals. As soon as I tap that card, as soon as I hand over the cash, I'm going to go into this budget and type it in, because it's going to show me live right away how much I spent inside of the big overall thing. All right, I hope that's a really good demonstration of this. A lot to kind of go over. Practice makes perfect. And what I'm going to do is at the end, in December, you can actually see the totals of what you spent for the entire year. So my total expenses that I estimated for the year was $12,363. The total I actually did is $4,986. So you kind of can know, hey, I got a lot more to go still, right? Totals amount that I invested, which, you know, if you're investing into a certain type of account, you can only invest a certain amount. So it helps to track that. Total amount you gave to your family for Christmas, you can rub that in their face if you want to. And then your total profit and loss, right? This is everything. This is everything you made minus everything that left your account. And if it is a positive number, great job. You've done a really good job budgeting. Of course, you want to look at the actual side at the end of the year, and the actual will tell you what actually happened. And if you stuck to the budgeted side, the planned side, the actual will line up and it will do exactly as you told it to. So that's the thing, intentionality. The budget is the way to solve any kind of mystery or where did my money go kind of thing, because you will be intentionally telling your money where it's going to go. So again, I will share that with you guys. You're welcome to take this and use it. When you open it, it'll ask you to make a copy. You can just rename it to whatever you expect it to be called, something that works for you. It'll look something like this. Would you like to make a copy? Make a copy. And when that happens, it opens up the account just like it is. It's got all that stuff in there, but I'll fix that. So, yeah, sound good? Thanks so much for watching. That's what we're enjoying, this part of our lives.